So I'm doing a 2-week trip to London and Paris, and it's the perfect time to do one of my favorite types of videos. We're gonna be talking about the Horizn Studios M5 Pro cabin luggage. This is what I'm bringing. Let's get right into it. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond, and today we are going to do a detailed walkthrough of my carry-on suitcase. This is the Horizn Studios M5 Pro. And after taking this thing through airports, hotels, and rough streets, here's everything you need to know about why this might be the perfect travel upgrade for you. Now, this video is made in partnership with Horizn Studios, but you're gonna get my honest thoughts on the pros and cons. I have tons and tons of different suitcases that we'll be comparing this to, everything I purchased on my own and rigorously tested across the hundreds of thousands of miles that I've flown this year alone. Now, with any detailed overview, let's just do a quick first impressions and a walkthrough of the suitcase itself. So hopefully you can see here, this is a cabin size, probably a little bit smaller than my normal carry-on option, but that's for good reason. This thing is 40 centimeters in width, 23 centimeters in depth, and 55 centimeters in height. So the good thing with a size like this is it's actually perfect for those smaller flights or international kind of regional flights. I recently took a trip to Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan. Yes, getting there with those larger planes, I fly United, I have plenty of overhead space. But when you're flying between, say, cities like Hong Kong and Singapore or Singapore to Taiwan, these smaller flights have a lot less space in the overhead. But the M5 Pro is more closely sized to the international guidelines and limits for those airlines, which means if you are doing a multi-leg flight or if you're making your way through Europe and flying with smaller airlines, you're not gonna have any problems getting this into the overhead, and you won't run into any issues at the gate. So with sizing out of the way, overall aesthetics, I actually really like this. It's clean, it's minimal, it has just enough detail where it does look a lot more elevated as a polycarbonate suitcase. If you're familiar with brands like Away, Monos, or some of the other polycarbonate offerings that I've tested on this channel, they're usually very clean, almost a little bit too minimal. And you know, I'm someone who loves the aesthetic of these really high-end aluminum suitcases. This is my Toomey, for example, and I like the way it looks. With the M5 Pro, you're getting the lightweight kind of construction of the polycarbonate. You get some extra features, but their design language is clean enough, but has enough, I guess, attention to detail that it does look a lot more premium than your standard Monos, Away, or any polycarbonate suitcase you can pick up off of Amazon or, you know, at a local TJ Maxx, for example. Aesthetics aside, let's just talk about overall features. Polycarbonate shell, we've got some nice bumpers here so you can place this on its side without damaging the actual hard shell itself. On the front, this is what sets it apart from the Essential M5, for example. The Pro version has this high core, hard shelled like nylon zipper pocket out in front. And then you've got additional pockets right here for added storage. And then on this side, we've got a carry handle with a rubber kind of texturized finish on the inside, which is again gonna give you a lot more grip. It's gonna make it a bit more comfortable to carry this on its side, or if you're pulling it off any of the trolleys when you're picking it up at baggage claim, for example. Over here, you're gonna find a TSA 008 lock. Really nice. We've got some matte finish metal zippers, and then all along the side are these high quality kind of theft rip-proof zippers. And then if we roll over to the back, this is an aesthetic you're likely more familiar with. Very clean, just a polycarbonate shell. We've got some simple grooves and lining to give it some texture, and then an all aluminum trolley arm. So the design language here is modern, it's minimal, right? It fits exactly into that kind of urban, clean, and yet futuristic look, which I really like. It sets it apart from other polycarbonate suitcases. First of all, let's talk about build quality and materials. So Horizn Studios is a German company, so they are very focused on impressive German engineering. So what we've got here for the shell is a German aerospace polycarbonate. Ultimately, what that means is It's hyper lightweight, it is incredibly durable, which is great. It also has reinforced corner structures. So you can see here, I can apply some pressure on the sides and on the inside, but on these corners, they are very, very sturdy, which again, these are probably the highest points of impact when you check the bag or if you're dragging it around an airport. If you drop it, for example, corners are probably gonna make contact first, but it's nice that these are completely reinforced, even for a polycarbonate suitcase. As I mentioned, we have these really smooth zippers that run along the entire closure of the suitcase, as well as this outer pocket here and this front zipper pocket here. And the one thing that I will say is these zipper pulls are not metal, which is great because there's no clinking and clanking when you're rolling this through an airport or a hotel, which again, very nice touch. If we come down to the bottom, the wheels, probably amongst the most important feature on any carry-on suitcase. These are really, really quite nice. They're a Japanese wheel. They're hyper smooth, very silent. I think, again, if you're rolling through an airport, you're rolling over tile, cobblestones in Italy, or just the streets of Paris and London and, you know, everywhere that I brought this, which means these are great on rough and uneven surfaces. They're quiet, they're smooth, they're stable, even when you've got a weekender or a backpack on top of this. Next, we'll talk about the telescopic handle. This is made from an aerospace grade aluminum, 3 levels of height adjustment, which is really nice. And again, it's solid, it's sturdy, it's stable, it handles the entire weight of the suitcase, even full. And of course, as you're rolling this around, it is going to help you maneuver through any airport, hotel, street, whatever, with the stability of those wheels as well. Now let's head over here and talk about this front pocket. Like I mentioned, it's made from a high core or pretty hard nylon shell. We're gonna zip it right open. This is what makes the Pro different than the Essential, for example, this laptop pocket. So as you can see here, slides right open, which is great. And this is gonna fit up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro, as well as additional organization pockets. What I like to do is I like to throw my MacBook in this far back pocket. I'll throw a notebook or an iPad even in the front. And then what I actually really like about this over some of the other carry-on suitcases I have with the laptop pocket, it has built-in organization, these little mesh pockets for cables and power banks and other little peripherals that you want in your suitcase and you want easy access to. So that alone is something that makes this particular laptop pocket much more useful, and again, designed with a business traveler or a digital nomad in mind. Then the other zipper I'm gonna call out right here in front. It's got a bit of a lip right here, I think, which is great. I mean, if you are rolling your suitcase through the rain, this is at least going to offset some of that weather, but it also makes it a little bit harder for people to like steal your stuff. So with that lip out of the way, you can get in here and you can see how deep it is. You can, again, drop in an iPad, a notebook, or, you know, whatever else you want quick access to. I enjoy the extra storage, especially with a suitcase that is smaller than my normal carry-on. Having the additional organization and storage on the outside means I can get a little bit more out of this smaller package. And if you take a look over here, like I mentioned, we have the TSA approved locks. They pop open very smoothly. And now that I've got it opened up for you, let's take a look at the interior, which again, arguably one of the more important pieces and the elements that make or break a good carry-on. So on this side, hopefully you can see we've got 2 clips and a divider. This side has the built-in laptop pocket. So again, I think fully expanded, you might lose a couple of inches, but not too bad. And then this divider here has 2 zippers for the mesh pocket. And then as you can see in here, we've got plenty of storage. And then once you have it in place, you can obviously pull these to lock everything into place. Heading over to this side, more classic, full zip mesh lining. And Horizn Studios did include another interior mesh pocket with packing cubes. I really like these. The nice difference between some of these packing cubes and my others is mostly transparent mesh packing cubes, which is nice. At least that way you can see what's inside each of your packing cubes. They all came inside this synthetic lined one. So if you've got dirty laundry, if you want to throw your toiletry kit in here, if you don't want lotions and serums or whatever, toothpaste leaking out into your suitcase, you can use this one, which is again lined with that waterproof interior. You can zip everything up and it fits really quite nicely into place. As you can see, like the sizing on this is really well planned. Got a few different options here. So you can see this little shorter one. I can of course get 3 nice full packing cubes in here. Good organization. That's how you travel light, and that's how you make the most out of a relatively smaller carry-on suitcase, especially for those international airlines. Packing cubes out of the way, here's your other compartment. We obviously have the trolley arms right here. They do take up some space. I usually put shoes on this side just because they fit really well into the grooves. Then we've got one more little internal pocket with an included laundry bag or a shoe bag, whatever you'd like to use. I appreciate that Horizn Studios includes a lot of extra bonus products and things to help make your traveling a lot more seamless and a lot more efficient. So let's come back over here and finish with some final thoughts. First of all, who is this suitcase for? Or again, who is going to be getting the most out of something like this? First of all, I'm going to say there are so many different types of suitcase brands out there now. I've tested, I don't know, over 100 different suitcases at this point for this channel all around the world. Polycarbonate is a great option for frequent flyers who are looking for lightweight, no fuss, also relatively affordable options that you can rely on. So with a polycarbonate suitcase like this, I think the M5 Pro comes in at about 530 bucks. Obviously, there are going to be sales and discounts and holiday deals that may pop up that might send this into the sub 500 level. But usually with a high quality polycarbonate suitcase, this is something that will last years and years. And if it's a carry-on and you're not checking it often, it should hold up to your regular travel. For someone like me who travels hundreds of thousands of miles per year just because of my job and because I like to travel, something like this would still stand the test of time. But if we're talking about the M5 Pro specifically, it's this outer pocket that I find really, really useful. But if you set aside the standard benefits of polycarbonate, which is durability and weight, you start to look at things like quality and details that make the overall travel experience better. So if we're looking at the M5 Pro, for example, yes, the German aerospace polycarbonate, I mean, maybe it's just marketing jargon, but my assumption is it's gonna be a lot more durable. The reinforced corners, I can actively feel and have tested that, so that's a good call out. But it's the other details that make this a standout over, say, Away, Monos, Quince, or any of the more budget polycarbonate suitcases of the world. And when it comes to the M5 Pro, this front pocket is something that I use very often. I have one other suitcase that I travel with all the time. This right here is my Carl Friedrich Carry-On X. It is a hybrid polycarbonate and aluminum frame suitcase with a laptop kind of compartment on the front. It is a great suitcase. It is pretty expensive compared to this, for example. And because it does mix materials like aluminum, leather, and an even larger type of laptop compartment, it is also significantly heavier. So for me, as a business traveler, someone who's trying to move quickly through an airport, trying to keep things relatively light, this is a great option because I'm getting the features and functionality, but they are focused a lot more on the minimal, lightweight, kind of seamless travel experience. Like this laptop pocket here, not the most amount of protection, but it is enough for a carry-on. The fact that it drops open, it still holds my laptop. It has additional mesh organizational pockets built directly into it, and the additional pocket on the outside gives it a little bit more thoughtfulness when it comes to what I would actually use as a traveler. And I will say, if you like this design aesthetic and the features and functionality, this does go up in size, so you can get this in a check-in medium and a check-in large. But in terms of different suitcase sizes, I prefer the smaller one, especially as I've been doing more in-region international trips. So I'll fly into a country, and then from that country, I'll move throughout Asia, for example. Or if I'm in Europe, I'll fly between different European cities, and those airlines are significantly smaller because they're shorter flights and they're smaller planes. So having an international size that fits those types of guidelines and limitations is a lot better for me because my other options, these would not fit. This Carl Friedrich is larger, it's significantly thicker, and it's a bit wider. And my other option on the international carry-on size is my Tumi, which I really like, but again, it is an all metal suitcase. So if I'm traveling with intention, I know exactly where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do, and I can be very careful with this black aluminum suitcase, which scratches like crazy, then yes, I'll potentially bring my Tumi, but this thing is super heavy empty. Which, in a long-winded way of saying, for business travel, for regular quick trips, moving through different cities, I'm probably going to default to this smaller, lighter option because one, yes, it's durable enough for me to toss around, bang up, roll through different streets and airports and hotels and whatever. It's got my laptop pocket here, and because of the price tag, it's not irreplaceable, right? They also have a lifetime warranty, which I think for travelers out there who are like me, that don't baby their gear, that's gonna be great. I'm gonna be able to, roll this around, do whatever I need with it. If anything breaks, the wheels come off, anything happens, I'm just gonna be able to send this to Horizn Studio and the lifetime warranty will either repair it for me or replace it for me. And again, as a business traveler, as someone who is just like always on a plane, rolling through a new city, it's peace of mind. And at 530 bucks, yeah, that's more than half of a Rimowa, for example, or even my Tumi. So this is definitely an option that I would consider for those of you looking for a lightweight, durable, stylish, and ultimately functional carry-on suitcase. So if you guys like this video, hit that like button. I will leave links in the description below, but I will catch y'all in the next one.